Have you ever wondered why some people seem to evolve effortlessly, while others remain stuck in the same patterns for years? Why do some minds flourish like a thriving forest, while others wither in the desert of routine? The secret isn't intelligence, luck, or even opportunity. It's something far more powerful and yet profoundly underrated. It's continuous learning. And no, I'm not talking about traditional education or collecting degrees like trophies. I'm talking about a mindset, a way of living that transforms every moment into a spark for growth. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you learned something that changed you? Not just something useful or interesting, but something that shifted you. That's the kind of learning I'm talking about. Continuous learning isn't about information. It's about transformation. It's the inner engine behind every thriving, fulfilled, resilient human being you've ever admired. It's the reason they don't break under pressure. It's why they adapt. It's how they create. And most importantly, it's what allows them to remain alive on the inside while the rest of the world grows numb. The truth is, your brain is wired for growth. From the moment you're born, you seek novelty. Curiosity is built into your biology. But here's the paradox. Most people slowly lose touch with that instinct. Why? Because society convinces us that learning is a phase, something you do in school, something you outgrow, something that ends. And that's the first lie that locks people into mental stagnation. The day you stop learning is the day you start dying, intellectually, spiritually, emotionally. Because without learning, there's no movement. And without movement, there's no life. You see, a thriving mindset isn't positive thinking. It's not about affirmations or motivation hacks. It's about elasticity, the ability to bend without breaking, to reframe without denial, to shift your perspective as life demands more of you. And the only way to stay elastic is to stay learning. The moment you become rigid in your beliefs, your habits, your opinions, you stop evolving. And when you stop evolving, life starts passing you by. Think about the people who inspire you the most. Are they the ones who cling to what they know? Or the ones who are always exploring something new? Continuous learners don't fear being wrong. They fear staying the same. That's the difference. That's the superpower. Because when you embrace learning as a lifelong identity, everything changes. Failure becomes feedback. Uncertainty becomes opportunity. Challenges become fuel. And suddenly, your world expands because you expand. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, I met a man who was in his 70s. He'd been a janitor his whole life. Quiet, humble, unassuming. But when I sat down with him and started talking, I was blown away. He had taught himself 4 languages, read over 1,000 books, built a telescope from scratch. He said something I'll never forget. I never saw myself as poor. I just saw myself as in training. That was his secret. He never stopped training his mind. And because of that, his world was rich, even if his wallet wasn't. Now contrast that with someone who's got status, wealth, recognition, but hasn't challenged their worldview in 20 years. Who do you think is more alive? Who do you think is thriving on the inside? Learning doesn't require money. It requires humility. It doesn't require talent. It requires hunger. And that hunger, once awakened, will take you places no degree ever could. So, how do you develop this mindset? How do you unlock the power of continuous learning in a world that's constantly trying to distract and sedate you? It starts with one choice. Choose curiosity over certainty. Every single day, ask questions even when you think you know the answer. especially when you think you know the answer. Read outside your comfort zone. Learn from people you disagree with. Don't just consume content, digest it. Reflect on it. Argue with it. Stretch your mind the way you stretch a muscle. And just like a muscle, the more you use it, the stronger it becomes. You'll notice something else too. The more you learn, the more humble you become. Because real learning exposes how much you don't know. And that humility is the soil where wisdom grows. It protects you from arrogance. It makes you better in relationships. It helps you navigate conflict. And most importantly, it keeps your mind young, no matter how old your body gets. I know people in their 20s who are already mentally old, rigid, closed, and defensive. And I know people in their 60s who are vibrant, open, curious. The difference? One group chose to stop growing. The other didn't. Which group are you in? Because here's the truth. Your brain doesn't care how old you are. It doesn't care about your past. It only cares about one thing. Are you giving it something new to work with? Are you feeding it novelty, challenge, insight? Or are you numbing it with routine, distraction, and repetition? It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be flashy. You don't need to become a guru or a scholar. You just need to stay awake. Pay attention. Make learning your lifestyle. Turn your everyday experiences into classrooms. That argument you had, what did it teach you? That book you finished? What will you apply? That moment of discomfort? What's the lesson life is constantly teaching us? The only question is, are you listening? Let's talk about discomfort. Most people run from it. They avoid it, numb it, distract themselves from it. But continuous learners, they lean into it. Why? Because they understand something powerful. Discomfort is a signpost. It's where growth begins. Every time you step into something unfamiliar, your brain lights up. It rewires itself. It forms new pathways. It doesn't just remember, you become someone new. But here's the hard truth. Continuous learning requires intention. It won't happen passively. It's not something you stumble into by scrolling through social media. It requires you to choose learning over entertainment, depth over ease, reflection over distraction. That's the battle we fight every day, not against ignorance, but against the seduction of comfort. Comfort tells you you're fine just as you are. Growth whispers, you could be more. And it's that whisper you need to listen to. Because buried beneath your fears, your routines, your excuses, there's a version of you that's still in progress. A wiser version, a more conscious version, a version that sees learning not as an option, but as a responsibility. Imagine what your life would look like if you treated every challenge like a lesson. Every failure is like a classroom. Every conversation is like a seminar. Imagine waking up each day with a question burning in your mind, not just a task list. That's what continuous learners do. They don't just do life, they study it, and what they gain isn't just knowledge. It's emotional intelligence, it's self-awareness, it's resilience. They learn how to think, not what to think. They ask better questions, they build better habits, and they create lives rooted in meaning, not just achievement. Now let's get practical. How can you build a system around continuous learning that doesn't burn you out? First, schedule it. Learning doesn't happen by accident. Set aside just 30 minutes a day to stretch your mind. Read, reflect, listen, take notes. Do it when your mind is fresh, early in the day if you can. Protect it like you would your workouts or your sleep. Because in the long run, your mental strength will determine your quality of life far more than your physical strength. Second, track your insights. Don't let valuable ideas pass through you like water through a sieve. Capture them, write them down, keep a learning journal, Ask yourself, what did I learn today that challenged me, inspired me, changed me? The more you document, the more you'll realize how much you're growing and how far you've come. Third, teach what you learn. Share your insights, not to impress, but to integrate. The best way to deepen your understanding is to explain it to someone else. And when you do, it becomes part of you. That's when learning becomes wisdom. Fourth, embrace plateaus. Growth isn't always explosive. Sometimes you'll feel stuck, bored, frustrated. That's normal. That's the brain's way of consolidating. Stay consistent through the plateaus. Keep feeding the fire, even when it burns low. Trust the process. And finally, surround yourself with learners. Your environment matters more than your motivation. Spend time with people who are curious, people who challenge you, people who question things. A single conversation with the right person can spark more growth than weeks of passive consumption. Protect your mental ecosystem. Because who you spend time with is who you become. Let me be clear. This isn't about being perfect. It's not about becoming a productivity robot or chasing endless improvement. It's about being alive, awake, in tune with yourself and the world around you. Because when you stop learning, you stop noticing. And when you stop noticing, life begins to blur. Think about how many people are just drifting, sleepwalking through their days, stuck in loops they don't even realize they're in. That's not living. That's surviving. But when you adopt a learning mindset, you interrupt the loop. You say, wait, there's something here. There's something I can get from this. There's something I can grow from this. And you will grow. Slowly, yes. Imperfectly, always. But deeply. And that's the kind of growth that sticks. So, let me ask you, what's the lesson life is trying to teach you right now? What challenge, what pattern, what discomfort is asking for your attention? What insight is hiding beneath your resistance? Don't wait for life to hit you harder before you listen. Tune in now. Start learning now, because the truth is, you are already in school, whether you realize it or not. The question is, are you showing up as a student? If this message spoke to you, I want to hear from you in the comments. What's one thing you've recently learned that changed the way you see the world? Or one lesson you had to learn the hard way? Let's learn from each other. Let's build a space where curiosity is contagious, where wisdom is shared, where growth is normal. And remember, this isn't just about knowledge. It's about becoming. Becoming the kind of person who doesn't just survive life, but shapes it. The kind of person who transforms challenges into catalysts. The kind of person who stays young in spirit, sharp in thought, and rich in experience. So if you're ready to commit to that path, to live, not just exist, then keep learning. Stay open. Stay awake. And if this video helped awaken something in you, give it a like and make sure to subscribe to the channel. There's more to learn, more to question, and more to become. The journey isn't over. It's just beginning.